Ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, and we are all here because we have a lot to talk about. Colin, talk about it.
So USF started as 171.5 total in this game against VCU. It's been bet up to 174, though. Definitely the biggest story in the streets right now around USF athletics. Can't think of anything bigger.
Battle for Atlantis. We're about to watch this.
Atlantis.
It's going to be great. That's why we're here, ladies and gentlemen. If you came here for anything else, well, stay logged in, just because why not? Have fun with us.
Shout out to all of our friends in the Bahamas as well. My friends Tom and Candace are down there. I believe our friend Mark is down there as well. The Goldsteins are down there. We got a whole bunch of people that are down there in the Bahamas watching a little USF basketball, men's and women's, because they both play today. Yeah, man, we'll see what happens here. It does look like things I'm reading that everybody else is reading publicly, and I've been able to talk to a couple people that might be relevant to the situation here. I would say that it is much more likely than unlikely that Alex Golesh will be heading out of USF. I wouldn't even say necessarily to I don't think it's 100% that school is Arkansas, but I think it's overwhelmingly likely that school is Arkansas.
I love the plausible deniability there.
Yeah, let's face it.
It's not North Texas or UConn.
Yeah, we know that.
It's not North Texas or UConn. It won't be
Colorado
Oklahoma
State.
And it won't be Colorado State, apparently, because they hired Mora. But I would say that people are pissed that this came out this leak. Okay, look, somebody just said, I have a loser mentality because I think they ought to let Golesh coach the last game. Look, man, somebody else got to take this job. And I think we learned from the LSU governor, okay, the governor of Louisiana, by the way, not an LSU grad, a Lafayette grad, taking the high road and doing things with an element of class and dignity really helps you land the next coach. You know what I mean? Like, we can be pissed about how this went down or everything like that, but look, I don't think a coach necessarily has to be tied here until after the season. Unfortunately, with the way this new calendar works in college football, the bigger schools are going to prey on the smaller schools to get their guy in the door as quickly as possible. That's just how this is going to work. I'm not mad at Golesh, okay? I'm not mad at anything that's happened here. I don't have any reason to be upset if he has done something untoward or shady, or, let's say he had a handshake agreement with Rob and then has, bailed on that. Okay, maybe that would be something that we could be a little, perturbed about, but otherwise, the way the college football calendar is broken down nowadays, this is what is going to happen. It sucks to be the victim of it. But I think you do the best that you can to allow a coach that has turned your program around. Who is that?
Tell her that you suck a lemon.
What is this? Seth, is that you? What the hell's going on here?
It was Santa Claus.
I have no idea. Yeah, it could have been Santa. Maybe one of the wise men back behind me.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Okay.
Huh?
Well, tell a little.
It went to the car. Oh. Yeah.
All right. Tell you what.
I'm out. I'm out and about. I think it switched to the old rental car here. So for a second.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's so funny.
Oh man.
Okay, so anyway, that's where I'm at. I think you let him coach. I think the fans are going to do what the fans are going to do. Unfortunately, I think they probably will rain down hellfire and brimstone if he is out there on the sideline on Saturday and has an agreement, either in principle or in place with any other school. But then maybe we're going to have a live bull at the game for the first time ever on Saturday, thanks to the professional bull riding tour.
How cool is that?
Pretty cool. It's not going to be in the stadium. He's not going to be in the stadium, but at the bull walk, they will have a live bull out there. And then maybe if you're really mad at Golesh, you just let him out, and let the bull charge the
red hair.
The red hair. He's even got red hair. But no, I think you handle this. I think you let him coach. I think you let this team that has a chance to finish 9-3, which is the best USF football season in a long time, that beat the Gators, that played meaningful football in November, which hasn't happened since forever. Yeah, man, I think you let him finish. And And I think that helps you as you start to look towards your next guy. So we'll see what happens here. Seth, what you got, buddy?
I was just jumping in to talk next guys real quick. If you had we had
right, I
names
got a
that we
few.
were looking at.
right,
Could
so
we wait before we do that?
Okay.
Can we backtrack into this situation real quick? Not necessarily for podcast purposes, for future episodes. Maybe someone wants to listen to it later. But just kind of like state of where we're at.
Yes.
Like right now. Like this is 2:41 p.m. on Wednesday, November 26th. This morning around 10:30 a.m. ish, Trey Schapp from his circle of trust leaked that Golesh had accepted the job at Arkansas to become their new head coach. And then a bunch of people corroborated with it and said, per sources, Trey Schapp has announced that Arkansas is going to be, or Golesh is going to be the next head coach. Yada yada yada. And as of, again, right now, 2:42 p.m. Wednesday, November 26th, nearly 4 hours later, we're still waiting for something.
And
something additional.
John Bryce was a guy that he reached out to me when Golesh wasn't really on many people's radar. I think we listed him on our hot board just because it was kind of the hot coordinator. But he wasn't really on anybody's radar. And he reached out to me and said, hey, Golesh is getting a really hard look. He's really plugged in at Tennessee and those people. So he kind of corroborated that story. So he'd be a guy I'd listen to if you kind of want to follow it around. John Bryce on Twitter is one. He works for Football Scoop, pretty plugged in. He'd be a good one to follow. So
yeah, but as of right now, we're still in the unofficial, looking likely that it would be. As we've kind of I've joked to Colin about a lot of plausible deniability that Golesh will no longer be the USF head coach. ... for other things, but we're still kind of all waiting for the Pete Thamels or Brent McMurphys or Pete Nakos or someone to confirm that those reports are now accurate, that he is indeed leaving. We kind of have it in good word that he was offered the job. And usually, and we've done this before, usually that means that the athletic directors at these schools don't just hand out offers. It's usually like, the pen is going to be on the paper shortly thereafter. It's like when you get a job offer at your next job or whatever. It's always after the fact. Yeah.
All right. So this is where we have to get into the banality and the ridiculousness of coaching searches. And I think this is something that, people don't really. I think for those of us that follow sports media, we really are invested in this and what language means, and you don't want to get too put a final point on things, but the following words almost mean nothing in coaching searches generally: interview, offer, meet with. You know what I mean? Because like Hunter Yurachek could have called Alex Golesh yesterday, and both of them could say it wasn't an interview. It was just a chance to reach out and chat. And they can both say, "Oh, we never interviewed anybody." You know what I mean? And Golesh can say, "I've never interviewed with anybody else." Offer could be a memorandum of you're offering a memorandum of understanding, not a contract. So since you're offering a memorandum of understanding, which could be signed or unsigned, you can say, "We never offered anybody but the coach we hired." Okay. That's just how these things work. So words are kind of worthless. And then like, if Arkansas wants to talk to Alex Golesh, he's got an agent and he's got himself. And those are, he could maybe not talk to anybody directly, but he can inform his agent what he wants to relay. And then Arkansas can also say, well, we've never talked to anybody but the coach that we wanted to hire. And let's say Golesh did say no, and he wanted to either go somewhere else or stay at South Florida. He could then say those things. So I don't want to get too bogged down on the language here. People are mad that, Golesh said, no, he hasn't interviewed with anybody. That's very possibly true. Look, man, these things happen. And I think you just got to accept it. You're in the group of five still. You might now, especially with the investment that was announced this morning from the Board of Trustees, you might be the best job in the group of five. but you're still a group of 5 job, and this is an SEC job, and this is an SEC job with Tyson chicken money and Walmart money.
I got to go. I've got to go in like 2
Oh, yeah.
minutes. Can I just throw out
Okay,
some names you guys can discuss? Okay,
Sorry,
so some names. Yeah, some names. I'm saying he's going to get mad if I don't get going here pretty soon. Let's go. If you want a sitting head coach that runs the same offense, you can go Jerry Mack at Kennesaw State. They've overperformed this year, and he runs the Tennessee offense as a Tennessee assistant. If you want hot coordinator hires, like Will Stein is probably way out there. Colin Klein, probably similar. The Indiana guys, I don't know how excited people will be about them. They haven't done much outside of Signetti. Shannon Dawson could be a name in terms of guy in the state of Florida that's had really good offenses at Miami. Seems like he's ready for that next jump up. Cade Bell would be an interesting one just for his ties and that he recruits the state of Florida really, really well. If you go to that Georgia Tech name, Jacarian Turner, Boosie Turner played at South Sumter High School, not too far from Tampa, and he got them up to Pitt. That Pitt roster is riddled with Florida guys, so he would be good. Also, maybe potentially, I don't know if you'd be able to, but if you want to throw some of that Byron money to Mason Heinzel, he'd probably be in pretty good shape there. So, he'd be a name.
I floated that possibility to somebody who would know today, and they laughed in my face about Heinzel. They said no shot.
There's going to be a lot of money. It would take a lot of money, but I think he wants to play. I think he wants to play for Cade Bell and not Pat Narduzzi. So that would be.
Oh, he's out.
That would be your hope. It's just you think he's going big time. Yeah, it's very So yes, it's very. That could be possible, but I would trust Cade as a recruiter, and he would be able to get a pretty good staff together. I think. I think it's gonna be a really attractive job, being where you're at with the investment, the possibility to move up soon, the on-campus stadium being built in your, that'll be your second year. If you have to have the job, you'll have the stadium. So I think it's a super attractive job. If Golesh leaves, they'll be able to get a really good candidate. And it's not, it's almost one of those things where you guys can say what you think on it. The money it would cost to extend Golesh to keep him away from some of these offers. If you just hire a new coach and put that money into the roster, maybe you're not much worse off. So that's all I've got from Parts Unknown. I'm visiting the Undertaker, so I'll talk to you guys.
Wait,
Tell Santa we say hello.
Mike Shanahan is the offensive
Thanksgiving.
coordinator for Indiana. I just found that out just now that you mentioned that. Anyway, happy Thanksgiving, Seth. Thanks for
Not
jumping
the
on.
Mike Shannon, a Mike Shannon. Yeah,
A Mike
not the
Shannon.
Mike Shannon, a Mike Shannon. But, yeah, so, all right, boys. Happy Thanksgiving.
See you, buddy.
See you, buddy.
Adios.
Yeah. And again, I'd hate to rehash it. This entire situation is really fucking weird. And I don't know if it's because of Arkansas being really fucked up or if it's USF being really fucked up, but I think it's the conglomeration of both these schools being really fucked up that's causing it.
Mature stream.
Yeah. I mean, sorry for the curse words, but just a strange situation all around. I mean, I've been putting hot boards together for every single USF team for the next 25 years at this point. I have like our women's soccer program mapped out at this point. So there really is. I think at this point, I would rather do like an unhot board than an actual hot board because there are so many like good candidates out there that USF can absolutely kick the tires on. Should they be needing to go that route? But there's like 8 untouchable candidates that like, yeah, absolutely not. Like they're and I mean,
Just say John Gruden.
John Gruden, absolutely not. Just the unsexiest thing you could ever do is to hire John Gruden. We literally just saw that basically situation play out at UAB with Trent Dilfer, and you have the blueprint of the exact same thing right in front of you, and you think that might be a good idea again, just because like we'll take John Gruden, donation dollars all day and all night. thank you for coming to our men's basketball games and women's basketball games, but I don't want him coaching my football team. I hear it all the time, especially from people that aren't as ball knowers as me, Vito, and Colin might be. Like Billy Napier rebounding to USF, just again not sexy. There's just so like any of these guys that were fired at SEC programs are pretty much untouchable until they go to the Kalen DeBoer, formerly known as the Nick Saban School of Rehabbing Coaches. Just not a good idea to get those guys straight off the cuff.
Give them a little
bit of time.
I think Dan Mullen might be somebody who at least gets a phone call here.
I agree with Dan Mullen, surprisingly.
A couple years out of the game for him. He took, I think, 2 full years off doing TV, and then has done a great job at UNLV this year. So, and he obviously Florida ties, yada yada yada. So, Mullen would probably be a guy who at least gets a tire kick. As far as the list that Mr. Varnador gave us, Will Stein is definitely going to be a guy that will be the hot candidate. I think Shannon Dawson. I'd be very interested to see Shannon Dawson if he was cuffed by Mario, what he could do with the cuffs off. Maybe not like the most like engaging guy as like a program leader. He's a little soft spoken, a little quiet, funny, but like we say this all the time because we always look at coordinators. As people who can step up, it's a totally different job. Like what you're doing as a coordinator and what you're doing as head. I mean, the skill sets don't always necessarily replicate. So I want somebody who's a little young, a little gregarious, somebody who can go out and raise money, who can build community, especially in this era where everything is getting so specialized, with personnel departments and, offenses, defenses just sort of almost being on islands. So I don't know, man.
Can I ask you a question, Colin? Because you tweeted this about...
Buddy, we are here to stall. The basketball game doesn't even start until 2:56 now. It's supposed to be a 2:30 tip. We can't
We thought we were going to riff until that happened for 5 minutes, and nope, here we go. You tweeted around 12:35. You believe the new investment by USF's Board of Trustees is enough to make it potentially the best G5 job out there. Do you think that which came first? Do you think that the investment was there when Golesh was there and it worked in lockstep, or do you think that this is a good this is a good marker going forward that, hey, this is the same that will be whenever a coach comes in?
I don't know, and I would say that you don't just like draw these things up in a committee meeting and get them out the door on like a moment's notice. Generally, usually these are things that are discussed widely with multiple people, with an entire board of trustees. They are considered. People figure out where the funding's coming from. But then again, this is a board of trustees that moves very, very, very quickly on things. So I just, quite frankly, I don't know. And I could probably ask a couple of people, but either they're not going to call me back, or they're not going to tell me right now. So we'll find out eventually how tied these things are. But I think if USF is going to fully fund NIL, with the stadium coming online, with the investment that's already been made in the program, I talked about this on the pod a couple of weeks ago, just the amount of bodies and stuff that we're moving to games now. And I noticed it because I hadn't really been traveling as media to games for 5 years after, considering my previous job. Just the amount of bodies and stuff we move, the size of the operation has grown so substantially. They're flying on a bigger plane and they can't even fit all the staff on a bigger plane to these road games now. And then you're going to fully invest in NIL, with the same levels that any school in the country, SEC, Big Ten would have. Why? How is this not the best job in the G5? You know what I mean? Like I just, with the momentum and everything going forward, I think we'll be fine. I don't want to give short shrift to what Golesh has done here, because he really did pull this thing out of the gutter. Stieg and I can attest how bad this was, man. This was bottom of the barrel, that terrible. But I think Golesh gets some of the credit, if not even a plurality of the credit for the turnaround. But I think also you got to give the institution a hell of a lot of credit, and the board of trustees and the donors a hell of a lot of credit, and that's still going to be here. That's not changing. So yeah, it's a better job than it was 3 years ago. It's a hell of a lot better job than it was 3 years ago. It's going to be a better job in 2027 when you got a stadium and you got all the new facilities and everything. We're gonna be okay. But again,
it does feel like the consensus. I mean, if you think about it, new guy comes in and then you're recruiting to a new stadium right away. Golesh was doing that too, but when it's 3 years out versus when it's next year or 2 years out, not next year, but when you start your first season, that's a huge jump. So you imagine that might, because you look at some of these names that at least Seth put out, some of them are getting some bigger calls probably, but like, you never know. It could be that it's like John Summerall going to Tulane, probably could have went to an SEC job, decided to do a one-stop detour first, and we'll see what happens with him. But my next question for you is, do you think this is, from a timing perspective, we already saw that Eric Morris got the Oklahoma State job, swirling rumors about John Summerall for almost every SEC opening. Obviously, the Lane Kiffin sweepstakes. This is now swirling. It's Thanksgiving. Last game is on Saturday. What do you think about all of this happening in the middle of the season when playoffs are still going on, and you still realistically are in a playoff, could still make the conference championship with programs doing that? Just kind of think more broader than just USF, but like, how do you feel about all this with how crazy season is now going into the regular season?
They're going to fix this. They're going to have to, I think Lane, like, here's the thing, like, people are pissed at Lane. Some media people are pissed at Lane. The man wants to leave Oxford. He wants a new challenge. There's 2 great jobs out there, and he's an asshole if he leaves, because I just don't understand. Like, you take college football seasons as seasons, but now we're asking guys 2/3 to 3/4 of the way through the season to make a decision about what they want to do next year. And that's just unsustainable. Like, I'm not going to be mad at Golesh if he wants to take a shot in the SEC. Like, I don't blame a guy for that. I don't blame Lane if he wants to be in Gainesville or Baton Rouge, a place with, maybe a little more ceiling, probably a better chance to win a national championship, quite frankly, than you'll have at Oxford, which is, by the way, is a great job, a job that he's done a tremendous, job rebuilding. I can't get mad at coaches for that, man. Like, it is what it is. Now we got to fix the calendar, and I don't know how you fix it, because any restrictions that the NCAA would put in place would have to go to federal court. I don't know if you've heard, the NCAA doesn't have a great record in federal court. They look like USF under Jeff.
Over the century, yeah.
They look like USF under Jeff Scott. In court, they lose court cases like Jeff Scott lost football games, and because then you're talking about restraint of trade and things like that. I'm not a lawyer. I've talked to lawyers about this. Anytime you're putting arbitrary concessions on, you need some kind of collective bargaining, and that wouldn't just mean necessarily collective bargaining with players. It would have to be collective bargaining with coaches and staff, and then you're getting on a whole other can of worms. So, like, I don't know, man. I don't know how you fix it, but they're going to have to do something, because this is just not sustainable for the sport. This is really, really bad. And you can't do a gentleman's agreement in college football. You know why? Because gentlemen's agreements get broken in this sport every single time. There's no commissioner. There's nobody to come down. Like, the Houston Astros cheat at baseball, and the commissioner can come down and really, like, penalize them, suspend people, take enforcement action. The NCAA can't do that. It's like every man for himself out there right now. And as long as it is that way, until there's some guardrails, I don't know what the hell you do. But any kind of gentleman's agreement isn't going to be enforceable, because there's always going to be somebody who wants to push the boundaries.
It's crazy, because you obviously trying to get somebody in for the early signing period, but you're starting to see more programs have some sort of GM situation that maybe helps bring that in. But shoot, you're a commit. How do you commit to a program with no coach? Then you wait till February. Then it's the transfer portal. But half of these programs, you're bringing a new head coach and you're portaling in 40 new guys. Right. It's almost like year one's always going to be that world anyway. So why not make it wait? Just because this is crazy. there's a lot that can happen, obviously, but like all of a sudden you're distracted. You're Eric Morris. You have a huge game on Saturday or Friday that could make you, get to the conference championship, get a playoff bid, and all of a sudden it's going to turn into a giant advertisement for Oklahoma State. Just not great.
Right. It sucks, and especially because the students at North Texas just rejected a measure that would have expanded their stadium and had them invest directly in the athletics program. So that's sort of a double whammy there. But I gotta say, like I think in the long term, the way that North Texas has handled this, which is okay, we understand you're going to take the bigger job, the one that quite frankly we can't financially compete with. But we want you to finish the season and do the best you can for the kids that we have here now. And it's quite frankly going to be, the next 3 games, whatever they play, is going to be a commercial for Drew Mestemaker, who's going to make a lot of money in the portal. So,
and that can, and the way this all works out is you can literally, Patrick meme, I'm going to move all my North Texas offense all the way to Oklahoma State. It's just, that's the new, not that that's going to happen, obviously, anything can happen, but I think the writing's on the wall there about how that works. And it's just, you're having this historic season and you can't even, you win all the games you're supposed to, you have this opportunity, and now all of a sudden, who knows? I mean, I'm assuming they're going to go ahead and still beat Temple, but you never know.
This is harder than I thought it was going to be, because like USF's up 10-3 on VCU. I'm trying to refresh Twitter. I'm trying to see our comments in here, and you guys have been great with those. Thank you. And this is, we got a lot going on for not knowing anything. This is crazy. And we will just keep it going here. We're just, by the way, our plan here, fans, our plan is no plan. As soon as news comes out, we'll talk about it. Otherwise, we're going to sit here and watch the basketball game, and we're going to talk to each other and enjoy Thanksgiving as a family.
Think of it as a Thanksgiving stream. If something happens, instead of us trying to scramble, we'll already be here. So, Colin, as you're watching, I'll look through some of these and just ask you some questions. But the next one is, let's say all of this was a giant ruse, and it's not confirmed, and nothing is permanent, and all of a sudden we get an announcement that Golesh ain't going anywhere. Does all of this, what does this all mean?
I think that's fine. I think that's, probably for USF, maybe best case outcome, that you fought off an SEC school for a prized head coach. I would just say that the history of college football isn't rife with that happening very often. But I mean, if it happened, I think it would be a good thing for USF to say, look, we are the best job of the group of 5. Look, we just beat off Arkansas for, maybe not the best choice of words there by me, but like we just kept Arkansas from stealing our basketball coach or our football coach. And I think that's a good thing. So I don't think there's any downside here for USF if Golesh comes back. It would be nice to be able to keep all these guys in system, to keep Byron Brown for one more season where he could, arguably the Heisman 17 shirts would probably start selling a little bit earlier in the year. That's for sure next year. We'll see. But does that happen? The history of college football isn't really full of that happening too often.
This is the weirdest, sorry to cut you off there, Vito. I just can't get over how weird this feels. We talked about it this morning. Everything about this seemed kind of fishy.
Sorry.
Did we just score? Did we just shooty hoop?
Alley-oop.
Not necessarily. College football coaches can make whatever decisions they want. Let's be candid about it. They can leave for whomever they want. They can leave at any point. Money's always going to talk first. That's all evergreen. But just how this was reported, who broke it, the dead silence for the last 5 hours by basically everyone in the media. And I'm fairly certain Arkansas directors and people up there and USF directors and everyone there are just kind of sitting in a boardroom like this, just patiently waiting for, I'm going to boldly assume Alex Golesh has an 813 area code at this point, an 813 area code to pop up just to get things going. Because, Arkansas apparently started to tell their other candidates that they are out of the running and that they're going to go for Alex Golesh here. And then it's just been dead silent on our side of things for all intents and purposes. And at this point, you would think again, a Pete Thamel, a Brett McMurphy, a Nakos, someone would post a tweet saying Arkansas is finalizing a deal to have, Alex Golesh or something like that. You would think, historically speaking, again, this is all a weird situation, but it just, all of this feels weird. None of it really feels right. It feels like someone messed up royally, either in the Alex Golesh camp or in the Arkansas camp. I'm not sure who yet, obviously.
So I'm going to push back on that a little bit. We have seen this happen. Here's going to be my working theory. Punch holes in it if you want. Arkansas has been talking to Golesh in some capacity, whatever. An offer was made. Not necessarily, let's get pedantic as we possibly can here. An offer in some sort of capacity of, hey, if we were to offer you this, would you accept? Blah blah blah. Let's push it however you want to push it. It's been sitting on Golesh's, and he's reciprocated interest in some way. Arkansas wants to get this done because they don't want to get left at the altar. Let's say Lane does jump to LSU. Does Mississippi have any interest in Golesh? If Summerall doesn't go to Auburn, does Auburn have any interest in Golesh? Does Florida have any interest in Golesh? I mean, he beat them this year for a reason. So Arkansas's incentive is to get this done as quickly as possible and lock up their guy. So the leaks are probably coming from that side, because they want to put Golesh in a box and force him to make the decision as quickly as possible. And otherwise, we're just kind of playing Monty Hall here, which is, congratulations, you've won what's in the box, but Golesh can also have the opportunity. Do you want what's behind door number 2, which might be no job at all in the SEC as everybody else goes in another direction, or it could be an even better SEC job than Arkansas. So that's kind of how these things happen. As far as the delay here, we've had delays like this in coaching moves of the past. The Charlie Strong deal, I remember everybody knew Charlie Strong was coming. It took hours for them to sign something. Details are probably getting hammered out here in some capacity. For Golesh, I don't remember what the delay was. I know with some basketball coaches, we've had extended delays. I remember one basketball coach who signed an MOU and then didn't have a college degree. That was one of the more fun days I ever wrote about here back in the old
people don't forget
the Daily Stampede days. So yeah, these things still, you got to work out, dot all the I's, cross all the T's. So I think it makes sense that if they are going back and forth right now, and I would assume Golesh and his team and Arkansas, if that's the case, then yeah, we might have a delay here where they just got to lock everything up before they will formally send out a release. When it gets down that tight, you're dealing with Hunter Yurachek, who's the AD at Arkansas, a university president or a board person in some capacity, Golesh and his agent, and those are going to be the only people who know. When the people talk more, and then when it gets really close, they talk less. And then generally you'll get a text message where they'll group text, 10, 15, 50 different reporters and say, hey, it's done. That leak comes out, and then the formal announcement comes out. So that's generally how these things happen. But we shall see here. Feels like a dotting I's, crossing T's type of lag that we're in here. But, while we're doing that, Bulls are up 12-8 on VCU, 14-19 left in the first half.
That's great.
I'll take good news where I can get it. There's no bad news. Yeah, I mean, in fair, again, I don't think at any point we've ever we love plausible deniability in this here Bay Area Examiner. We've all been pretty adamant that Golesh at some point was going to command for a higher job at some point. Whether that happens in season, out of season, off season, whatever season you're talking about, it was going to happen. We were pretty upfront that, every single opportunity that Golesh gets to interview for a job is probably going to be taken, whether that was Oklahoma State or Arkansas or whomever, Penn State. You don't turn down job interviews. in this industry. You can. Wouldn't recommend it though, especially with your agents and everything. So at no point were any of us kind of like, oh yeah, he's definitely going to be staying for the foreseeable future. It's kind of like, all right, what could USF do to try to entice him to run it back one more time? That's been kind of the crux of it all. And I think USF did everything they possibly could. Being completely honest, like the increase in revenue share that they agreed to yesterday in the board of trustees, the increase in, the loan that they athletics also received to basically up like their investments into this program, like that's not done just for Alex Golesh. That is done for all of the coaches, present and future. It's USF's way of saying we're here to compete with the big guys no matter what. USF losing out to Arkansas isn't exactly the biggest slap in the face I've ever seen as far as a coaching change goes. I felt worse with the idea that it could have been Oklahoma State. Not necessarily because I didn't think Oklahoma State can't outspend or outdo or anything like that, but let's be real. If your coach is getting poached to go to an SEC program, that means a little bit more than what is a proverbial one step up, getting into the Big 12. So USF has that going for them. Getting poached by an SEC team is better than, having Jim Mora leave UConn to go to Colorado State, at least.
So, yeah, I mean, first of all, that's I was talking to a UConn fan this morning who's like, hilarious. Mora thinks he's going to win more at Colorado State. I'm like, buddy, you think you're going to win more than you did under Jim Mora? Like, he was a godsend for your program. I thought it was a terrible hire when it was made. I was clearly wrong. Like, he has been a revelation for that program. I don't know what the hell UConn's going to do.
Outrageous.
They ought to build that man a statue. What are you talking about? So I'm not sure. Losing Oklahoma State. This is, by the way, this is not T-Boone's Oklahoma State anymore. That is a program that is much more financially challenged than they were 10 and 15 and 20 years ago. If you are familiar with the history of Boone Pickens and Oklahoma A&M and all that kind of stuff, they don't have that kind of money sloshing around there anymore. And so while it is certainly a step up for Eric Morris, and I think that's a really good hire, like that, the fact that they were able to land him, and I'm sure they promised him a level of serious investment to make that happen. Oklahoma, I agree. Oklahoma State's not as great a job. Arkansas is an SEC job, man. With possibly the exception of Vanderbilt before Clark Lee got there, there's no bad SEC job. It's just degrees of how good. And Mississippi, even Mississippi State, like, it's not a great job. It's a very, very difficult job to win, but like, you're going to make a lot of money. You're going to have access to the best talent. You may not get the 5 stars, but you're going to get plenty of 4s. You're going to be able to compete reasonably well. There's no bad SEC jobs. There's just that's because of the media money. It's just they bring in so many dollars that it's difficult to ever fend them off. And for a school like USF, it very, very close to impossible. Although until something is signed, Rob Higgins and Will Weatherford, Mike Griffin might be digging under couch cushions right now, or selling off a soft sciences department to make this happen. We just don't know. And obviously it's radio silence everywhere, which makes sense.
Yeah. Again, the radio silence is just the funniest part to me. And I know, Colin, you're so much more in tune to this, and in fairness, every comment you made about, hammering out the details, making sure all the I's are crossed and the T's are dotted. I mean, this is a legal contract, which I'm going to boldly assume is going to be for a lot of Tyson and Walmart money, knowing what they did to get Calipari to leave Kentucky.
Yep.
This isn't like we joked about the generational wealth thing. Like, again, with Oklahoma State, you're probably getting that increase from, $2.5 million that Golesh is currently making, $2.5 plus million that Golesh is making, to whatever Oklahoma State ends up giving for Morris. Yeah, you're making a good bit more money, but you're not like, seeing the huge wealth disparity. I mean, but there's a chance here with how Arkansas is lining up their, their dishes here on Thanksgiving that this could be a lot of money that they're hitching to the Alex Golesh wagon.
So let me actually, Vito, you're the host here. Our buddy Mike Brown in the comments, former manager of the USF basketball team and also the guy who sold me my house, has put. I don't know if you can put in the comments, or at least like upload it. His agreeing that Arkansas tried to force his hand, and then also mentions that yes, or well, this one too. But he said, in fact, can we theorize that Higgins isn't looking to make a last effort and thwart the Arkansas hire, get the money on the table for him, better long-term job security? Could be a legend if he stays. It's possible, but not really. But the other thing that Michael said was what I was leaning into, which was, from what I understand, Golesh's wife is from Arkansas. And so that's why even before this season started, I had heard that Arkansas would be a possible destination for Mr. Golesh because let's face it, the hot seat on Sam Pittman started when they brought him back, when they sent the letter last year to bring him back, he was already on the hottest of hot seats. And so these things tend to play out over longer periods of time than I think some people think. And Golesh's wife being from there was certainly a factor that I had heard in the offseason. So there you go.
Like
whether that's true, and I can't verify that. That is me. I have not talked to Alex Golesh about this or anybody in his family or anything, or how tied they feel to that state. But it was something that was mentioned to me earlier this year for sure. Look at me being responsible.
Yeah, look at that. Are you surprised? I think the consensus was once they hired Bobby Petrino as offensive coordinator, the writing was on the wall there potentially. Are you surprised that Bobby Petrino hasn't had a longer look here, or is that something that maybe they did and that's it?
They gave him the shot. He didn't win. Like that team looked flat too. Like there is definitely. From what I think, Stephen Godfrey has probably been the guy who has been as plugged in on this as anyone. But from what it seems like, there was definitely a Petrino contingency amongst the donor class at Arkansas. So firing Pittman and giving Petrino the keys, and then he fired was it DC? He fired his DC as soon as Petrino took over. Was it the OC or the DC? Because Petrino was the OC. I don't know if he fired like a co-OC or a DC. And they said, okay, Bobby, go win. Show us something so we can have a chance to make it happen here. And that just didn't happen. And so bringing Petrino back was not necessarily
you're correct. They fired defensive coordinator, defensive coordinator Travis Williams, who before that was the DC for UCF under Gus.
Right. That's right.
Him. I guess he shook up the staff, but you're right. It's like that was your audition, and unfortunately, if you don't get the wins, you move on. Yeah. Then to hogball burner, there's nothing USF could do to compete with Arkansas. Respectfully, you paid Pittman almost $7 million. Yeah, you're not beating $7 million. That's for darn sure. But that's part of why every SEC job can pay, and it's an SEC job. There's only a handful of them. And why can't any of them be Ole Miss, or why can't any of them after Indiana, after what Kurt Cignetti's doing with Indiana? Why can't any program who isn't necessarily a quote-unquote blue blood be the number 2 team in the country at this point in time, right?
It's definitely a flatter pay scale. There's going to be some ways to moneyball your way into the upper echelons of college football. With a salary cap definitely favors the more limited teams than scholarship counts did, for sure. But it's also it's the beyond the salary cap money where things get different. If you think Georgia's only spending 20 point whatever million on salary cap, I got a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn. Like that's just, the numbers that we're hearing for some of the biggest programs are 50 million in player payroll total, counting salary cap as well as outside NIL. And the SEC's got that, and if Texas Tech can do it, if Texas Tech can do it, and they are the model at this point. That Texas Tech team, man, they are good. And
Mm-hmm.
they've proven that you can just sort of buy your way to the top 10 into the playoff, and that team terrifies me, man. If USF had managed to hang on and got the 12 seed, I didn't want to go to Lubbock for a lot of reasons. One, I went to Lubbock once. I spent a month there one weekend. And two, 5 seed Texas Tech might have blown our doors off. Like, I would have much rather played even Notre Dame, who's really, really good. Like, I would have much rather played basically anybody else who might have been in the mix for the 5 seed than Texas Tech, because I think
breaking news: we have a Rob Higgins tweet.
Hey, that's why we're here.
Since Rob Higgins, right now, since Saturday's game, Coach Golesh has been presented with outside opportunities that he has been transparent about with us. We are respectful and supportive of Coach and his family in their decision-making process. We will remain in constant communication. Bulls Nation, rest assured, we are ultra prepared for every scenario that could unfold in the coming hours/days. Our commitment and investment has never been higher, and we're also laser focused on being great stewards of our resources. Most importantly, the future of USF football has never been bright. Go Bulls, horns up emoji, smoke blowing out of the nose emoji.
He gone. That's he gone tweet. Yeah.
So, I'm just saying, he could have called you, Colin. Could have jumped on the pod and just said that. Could have been on the stream.
Rob hasn't been generous enough with this podcast already, giving us like 45 minutes on pizza reviews. I just can't imagine.
Incredible.
Hey, it wasn't just pizza. It was all the food in the Tampa Bay area.
All the food in the Tampa Bay area, true. But let's I think we'll go ahead and let Rob put out his information as he chooses to. And honestly, like, the guy is just, that's why I wanted him as the AD. He's direct, he's honest, he's communicating as best as he can with his fans. He's keeping the fans. This is a time when a lot of people would just go radio silent and then send out a statement when it's done. But I appreciate the constant communication. I think he's been great. And like, I think everybody got a little too excited because Vito, were you with us? Steve, you were with us, right? When we did that podcast last week, and Rob tweeted something, and then we got, or it was Nate, and we got the retweet from Golesh saying come to the Bay, all this kind of stuff, and everybody was like, oh, that means he's staying. And Seth, Nate, and I were all like, okay, guys, settle down. Like, this is just tweet.
I just post information as I see it.
Yeah, I mean, like, no, I appreciate you send it out there. I think that's probably the most news we've had in an hour.
I'll throw that up there just so everybody can see it.
Yeah, like, the tweet that Rob sent last week that was retweeted by Golesh, and then
right.
The hashtag come to the Bay, and everybody's like, oh, that means he's staying. It did not mean he was staying. It did not say anything. This one, I think, makes it pretty clear in that same capacity that it is very likely that Golesh is at least in the final negotiating stage, or getting pretty close with either Arkansas or maybe perhaps more than Arkansas, but at least just with Arkansas.
I think the more important thing for USF fans, and I absolutely can attest to the fact that looking at us having over 1,600 viewers here, I'm going to boldly assume probably 70% of those are Arkansas fans. So I apologize for the USF-centric information you're about to receive here. Rob is obviously extremely transparent to us, to USF media, to USF fans, which is something that we absolutely love. I don't think he's BSing us or anything like that. I think that they're doing everything they possibly can. Like he said, they are ultra prepared for every scenario. That every scenario includes the possibility, very slim, just like USF's conference championship chances at this point, of, Alex Golesh staying, but more importantly, prepared for the other scenarios of what happens in the fallout. Because I do know that there was a question about what this is going to mean recruiting-wise. And so I think we could probably go ahead and start saying, expect a good majority of that class to decommit.
Yeah.
And that's normal. There are some guys that might stay for, the education purposes and the NIL purposes, because USF obviously can get some good NIL dollars here and there. But I don't imagine a mass exodus is going to go to Arkansas. If we're going to be completely honest, I don't think that this iteration of the USF football team and what they've built, especially with the guys that can come back, would compete in the SEC very well week in and week out. Obviously, you beat Florida, but I think the current Arkansas team probably could have beat Florida too. So I think, maybe not at the time, but maybe like a right now situation. But they
might be getting KJ Jefferson 2.0.
That's true.
If Byron believes with him, that is just a better KJ. And I loved KJ Jefferson. Man, that kid was tough as shit.
Yeah.
And you might just be getting a better version of that Arkansas, because I think Byram's an even better player.
Right.
So we'll see.
And two, sorry, I don't want to cut you off there, Colin, but the ultimate point is Rob is being this transparent with us fans, and I am probably very assured in knowing that he and Derek Brooks and the rest of the support for USF football are being as transparent with the staff, the players, and the recruits as well. We have it on good authority that usually the athletic director also, in a situation where your head coach does leave, the athletic director or whomever they represent to the recruits would reach out to them, let them know the situation, and keep them up to date as well. So they'll do their best to retain as much as it is. I'm sure Rob Higgins and company are going to work as quickly as possible to find their next candidate for this position. I think they can move really lightning fast, unironically as well. I think, like you've mentioned, USF might be a really, really hot option for a lot of programs, or excuse me, a lot of candidates that might want to jump first at that. And I think that really prides USF to really behoove themselves to be the sexy group of 5 candidate that can get whomever they want, barring like 1 or 2 people this cycle.
I don't know who's the sexiest woman nowadays. Is it Kate Upton? Is it
I don't know. Jonathan Bailey got a sexiest man if we want to do that.
We could do that. Okay, so like we are the Jonathan Bailey of the G5 jobs. That's for sure. Like I don't think that's even a question. Like this is the best G5 job that's available. Still a G5 job, but it is, by far I think it's the best G5 job in the market. Before we start, and I see a lot of people asking about potential list, and you can go back and rewind and see what Seth's list was earlier. But before we get maybe a little deeper into that, if there's Arkansas people here, if you want to know about Golesh, ask questions, man. Like we're here to talk to everybody. It doesn't have to just necessarily be USF fans. But the amount of people in here make us think that we are very potentially being seen by a lot of people from across the SEC as well. I will tell you that one of my best friends' fiance is an Arkansas grad. I told her, and I'll tell you exactly what I told her, which is, hold on. You're getting a real tough guy, but he'll win. And Golesh isn't necessarily the most friendly, definitely not the most media friendly, that's for sure. And can certainly be a challenge to his staff and to other people. But I think he'll win there. The commitment that he got, the buy-in that he got from this team, really unbelievable. Like I've covered college football for a long time. I've never seen a team with the level of buy-in, good and bad. Even after the loss at Navy, Mac Harris, the first thing out of his mouth was about process. And man, to have your senior captain linebacker bought in like that and still talking about process after the loss that likely ended his career. That's something, man. Like the way that he's gotten these kids to buy in, I've never seen anything like it. So I think he'll win at Arkansas, or whatever ceiling Arkansas has in the SEC. He'll get as close to it as I think anybody could be. Vito, you want to throw in a couple of questions here?
Yeah, let's do it. So this one just popped in. Just joined. Sorry if y'all covered. Are you sure? Are y'all sure whether he's going to Arkansas or might wait on Ole Miss? I know that there was kind of conversation, not anything official. Conversation of like, hey, what happens with Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss opens up? That's kind of a prime job. So
yeah,
nothing
like
official or anything, but
here's the thing. This is why I don't think the leak came from Golesh, because he would lose his leverage here. I think that's why the leak comes from Arkansas. Arkansas is like, we don't want to get left at the altar. So okay, here we offered this guy an MOU. If he's got until whatever to sign it, if he waits, we could go in another direction here, because we're not going to get left at the altar if Auburn for some reason gets back in the mix, or Ole Miss gets back in the mix, whatever. So it's in Golesh's best interest to wait as long as possible, and it's in Arkansas's best interest to get this thing done. That's why I have been caveating Counts 993, and thank you for joining us. But we did say this earlier. It's like, it seems like things are heading towards the Arkansas direction, but it is not 100% that it's Arkansas. I would be very surprised at this point, though, like as far down the road as we are, that if he would come back to South Florida. So we'll see.
A lot of people saying they love the transparency from Higgins, that it's a nice
100%.
breath of fresh air. It's great to see. Because like you said,
look, man, we only campaigned for that guy to get the job for 11 years. So like, other than that, this is why we campaign. This is just the kind of leader that Rob is, the kind of guy that he is. And that's why we thought he should have been the athletic director a long time ago.
Yeah, we got to print that flow chart, send it over as a Christmas gift.
For sure.
As we're just kind of floating, we're doing this as we're watching the game. USF's up 22-19 over VCU.
Buddy, I'm ahead of you. It's 24-all.
Oh, what?
525. I got 525 in the first half.
Oh, okay. Hit that refresh button. 26-24. How about that? And probably still behind you. A few names have been popping around. Like, what do we think about our friend, the once and future USF future football coach, Willie Simmons, who has the FIU Panthers, bowl eligible? How do you feel about him?
So my short list immediately was Cade Bell, who I think has shown, once he got his quarterback under center at Pitt, what he can do. Obviously his dad, I think, is the most underrated OC in the history of USF for the 13 games that he was here. 12. No,
he was
12,
the most wronged offensive coordinator.
The most
we know
wronged
that for certain.
Chris Oladokin is our most wronged quarterback, probably, and I would say Kerwin Bell was our most wronged offensive coordinator. And Cade was he wasn't a coach, though. He was just staff member under his dad, right? He wasn't one of the 10 official coaches, I believe. He was just a staffer. Yeah, man, I think Cade Bell from Pitt would make a hell of a lot of sense. And yeah, if you get an alum, the only thing with Willie, I think, is he's only been there 1 year. Great season for FIU this year, though. Like, did a hell of a job. But having just 1 year at a Conference USA program might not be the resume for what is probably now the best job in the group of five. Like, USF can be a little picky here. I would hope it would be wonderful if someday if Willie Simmons would come home and coach this team, but maybe it's not this time. Maybe it's the next cycle or the cycle after that. But we'll see. He might be the guy. He might just overwhelm and impress the USF staff enough to get the job. But I would think that they're going to aim big. Like, I'll tell you this. I don't know what's going to happen. I know USF's going to spend some money, and they're going to spend more than Golesh's buyout to bring in somebody. That's for darn sure.
His reduced buyout. Did we mention? Did we forget about that?
No.
So I did not read. I was going to go back and look. I know we have it. I didn't look in the files, though. What's the numbers? You got the numbers in front of you?
I believe from our FOIA contract that once Michael Kelly had departed the University of South Florida, the coaches' buyouts were reduced by 50%. So, and in fairness, that is probably more to protect you from the other side of it than it is, this side of it. Like, that's the unfortunate part, is your athletic director theoretically got poached up. I know people want to, poo-poo all over Navy as much as you want to possibly can. That's an upgrade without a doubt from USF Athletics. To be the athletic director for the Naval Academy that's a dream come true for a lot of people.
It's a dream come true for the guy whose father was there. And
correct.
And let me tell you, I saw him. Was it 2 weeks ago now? It was 2 weeks at the game. He looked so happy. Like, he really, and I was so happy for him. And I think it's, great that he got that job. But yeah, he flipped the coin before the game. USF called tails. Of course, it landed heads, and then Navy goes on to win. And then he leaves, and it costs us 50% of our buyout. So Mike Kelly, on the way out the door, just stealing from the athletic department at the University of South Florida, taking all the money. Yeah, MK. I said it. Come get some. Yeah, look at you, just burning bridges on the way out the door, pal.
And in fairness, again, and the other side of it, it's supposed to help your coaches more than it's supposed to hurt the school. Theoretically, it kind of works in the favor of, oh, I'm a new athletic director after my other one just got fired, yada, yada, yada. So reduced buyout kind of stinks. If, again, the reports are true that Alex Golesh is going to leave, USF will be owed, I think it's like $1.5 million rather than the almost $2.5 million. If I know that the math isn't quite there, but, also assuming staff and all that other good stuff, USF should get at least a decent sized pay chunk out of this, but you're still making quite a bit of money on this, and you're also investing your program even more. And also, money isn't real right now at the University of South Florida because you're building an on-campus football stadium, and none of us really know how it's being financed, and that's perfectly fine. And also, you're finding all this money for Brian Hodgson to be your head coach and paying him a lot of money. Money isn't real in our year 2025. Put that on the Amex Black and hire a new coach. Spend the money. Don't try to cheap your way out of it. Don't be like, oh, we can get Billy Napier on the cheap because we're not gonna. No. Spend the money. Get who you want, because it's going to end up paying off. Gambling wise, if they end up winning. You're building a brand new on-campus stadium. You've got all the bells and whistles that you're ever asking for there. The fortune favors USF right now. You have the opportunity, especially with conference realignment and everything else, to continue to be the sexy group of five candidate. Nate and I talked about it last night. Yeah, you're amongst 3 out of 10s, but you're still a 5 out of 10. You're still the sexiest candidate that we have right now, with the way that things are going. So this is your chance, man. Like, spend the money, find the big splash hire, get him to Tampa, take him out on the ferry, do all the glitz and glam you got to do. Don't take him to meat market, and get the next guy that can get you to a conference championship game. That's a novel concept. Get a guy who can score a lot of points. Get a guy who's willing to hire a defensive coordinator that can make a lot of stops, and take us to the promised land, Rob. We're going to say that in third person.
Third person, Rob. Yeah. You're Stieg. He's Rob. So actually, speaking of Rob Ritter with a comment in here. I don't know if you go back to 3:34 p.m. there, Vito, if you can.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Golden agents, Jimmy Sexton. So we all know what that means. Like, if you follow college football at all, the Sexton. And by the way, if I was a college football coach, I would fire my agent to pay twice as much commission to Jimmy Sexton if he wanted it. Like, the man is just a miracle worker and has held up billions of dollars from the SEC over decades. And the man gets it done. And leveraging more than one school against each other would be a tactic that the Sexton agency, which I forget if it's IMG or the other one that he is aligned with. CAA. I forget if he's IMG or CAA.
CAA.
He's CAA. Yeah. Like, they have certainly leveraged things over the years for sure. Couple other things in here.
Just to go through in case you don't know, Jimmy Sexton's client list involves Alabama's Kalen DeBoer, Georgia's Kirby Smart, Texas's Steve Sarkisian, FSU's Mike Norvell, Lane Kiffin, Nick Saban. Just a couple coaches.
Yeah, like I don't know if that Saban guy. It's so funny, like, Saban's on game day talking about Lane and how the calendar's bad, and I'm like, which I agree with, by the way, but he was saying this, and I'm like, yeah, I wonder if Jimmy might have said something to Nick, be like, hey, we could use a little help here on national television, airman for a guy. That's how these things work, man. Not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm saying it's a thing. What else?
Saban? No, I'm kidding.
Saban?
I just love when he said, I want to stay retired. I do not want Jimmy anywhere near Miss Terry, because when she hears some of those numbers, she gets interested, and I'm not interested. Oh, sorry.
So quit asking.
So quit asking.
So quit asking.
Stop letting your wife make football decisions.
I mean, Miss Terry.
But also let your wife make football decisions. She's usually smarter than you. Yeah. Crazy little rodeo we got going on here. 2-3 days before a live bull is going to be at Ray J, right? Here, Colin?
Yeah, Professional Bull Riding Tour will have a live bull.
I'll plug that for you.
At the Bull Walk on Saturday. We're going to do a little content around that as well. We got some friends over there at the PBR. But it will be the first time we have a live bull in 29 years of USF football? 29th season. This will be the first time we have a live bull out there. Won't be on the field. We'll just be at the pregame thing. But the bull, whose name is Bon Jovi, by the way.
Yeah, made me really confused. I thought
well, in terms of a coaching situation, I think we got to hold on to what we got. But it doesn't make a difference if we make it or not, because it's not going to matter this season, as we're not getting to the playoff. But yeah, there's gonna be a bull out there. So come early, go to the bull walk, come meet a bull, like an actual bull that's like one of the best apparently in all of bull riding, that bucks off more like professional bull riders than like any other bull. Yeah, that'll be fun. So and as Higgins had tweeted out earlier, that this is sort of like a dry run to potentially have live bulls at the games at the new stadium in 2027. So we'll see how that goes. But the bull will not, as far as I've been told, the bull will not be on the field for Saturday's game against Rice.
Feels dangerous.
All right. Yeah, insurance policies. That's what the insurance policies are for. Speaking of Rice, I think it's 28.5 right now. I wonder if it moves.
I hit that Rice money line so hard. Not gonna lie.
Money line.
Money line. Yeah, absolutely. I am insane. Yes. Have you seen my ping pong betting?
Sure. Okay, so it was 28.
What was it? $5 get you 70?
Yeah.
14 to 1. Rice was 28.5. It looks like it's moved down like half a point. That could just be noise unrelated to the coaching search. Money line, I'm seeing. Oh, if you only got 14 to 1, bad job, buddy. I'm seeing an 18-23 out in the streets. I'm seeing a 21 at Circa.
Listen,
5 will get you 105. Look at that.
Listen, I'm not willing to go offshore yet.
It's the Rob. It's the Rob reverse jinx.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
I mean, honestly, in our ping pong, which again, for the people that have tuned in from Arkansas, you're probably just unbelievably confused of what's going on. Everyone in our ping pong group is trying to get me to reverse jinx this Golesh hire. If you have any clue on how this, our ping pong has been going recently, but yeah, I mean, the thing that I hate about this, and I'm joking about it, and we've been laughing about it, but like the fact that this stuff always happens before the season actually comes to its logical conclusion irks me. Again, I understand this is the cost of doing business, especially with National Signing Day being on December 3rd. Coaches need to hurry up and get their classes solidified and good and going, ahead of that. So I'm sure that's part of the reason why Arkansas probably leaked this, was like, you have 1 week to basically get your class together, or you're going to have to basically piecemeal it, which is not the best feeling in the world if you're a brand new coach. And so it's accelerated the timeline just expeditiously, which has resulted in this for North Texas. Honestly, if you even go back, once Billy Napier got fired and once James Franklin got fired, it just accelerated these timelines tenfold, where you have to make the decision now. You have to get these guys in now, because you need to start building now, because you need to start winning now. And that's the shame of it, as I continue to watch this sport kind of crumble around me, sitting in the middle of it, is, gone are the days of waiting 3 years to basically get your class in, get the guys that are really bought in, and start winning. Kurt Signetti is a great example of coming in and winning right away. But in the same breath, it's a really bad pace to set, because that's not going to happen for a lot of schools. No one's going to win immediately every single time they join their next school. Golesh got USF to 6 or 7 wins. Fantastic. Great for him. There are also instances of many other Group of 5 coaches coming in hot and basically laying a flat egg. Tim Albin over at Charlotte, that looks like a dumpster fire still, but I believe that Tim Albin is probably going to be a very good coach there. Casey Keeler doing good things at Temple, but may not get bowl eligibility after the first year. That's okay. Rice, that's a fun offense that's going to cause a lot of problems in the future, but they're probably not going to be very good right now. So you look around at the landscape of how college football is, and they're saying, win right away, put all the money in and win right away. Someone's got to lose, right?
And it's going to be the teams in the Group of 5. That's just how this is going to work. You want to solve this problem, USF? Get on the other side of the wall. Do what you're doing, which is investing enough to show value to the Power 4 conferences that you bring value to a Power 4 conference in the future. But until that happens, this is your lot in life. You're mad about it. I got a few people to blame. They don't work at USF anymore though. These were decisions that were made 10 and 15 and 20 years ago that are affecting things now. I would say betting on the wrong Big East commissioner was the fatal flaw, and that has now had downstream consequences 13, 14 years later. That's kind of where we're at. As an aside, we're obviously taking our time here. Bulls are down 32-30 VCU, 119 left first half. But let's talk about this real crisis in college basketball, which is these marshmallow ass soft rims in all of these tournaments this week. If you've been watching, the rims, the rims in Atlantis are sponsored by Stay Puft. Okay, Vegas hasn't been much better. Everything's going in these. It's like we've turned the entire country into Cameron Indoor Stadium for the entire month of March. And by the way, not very helpful to our Bulls today, who are 1 of 9 from 3. So yeah, but if we're gonna get scoring down in college basketball and make people play defense again, can we at least tighten up these rims just a smidge? These things are just super duper soft.
And here I thought we were gonna get a Colin Sherwin talks about the refs segment before that.
The officiating is so horrible and so randomly inconsistent, and then yet I watch women's basketball too, and then I go, oh my god, it's so much better than women's basketball.
I watched our women's basketball team play yesterday or the other day, and it has to be the rims at this point. It's the Yingling Center curse all over again, because women's basketball is 2 for 17.
Ooh, wait, just real quick, we have recognition from Yahoo's Ross Dellinger. Didn't say anything, confirmed nothing, but he said South Florida may soon be entering a coaching search. As that plays out, the school is in line to become the first non-power program to fully fund the $20.5 million plus in athlete revenue share, as the university board recently approved the influx. And then he links to a USF Oracle article about that part of it. But that's the first major person who's at least recognized that, oh, hey, look, there might be a coaching search coming up.
Yeah, I think first of all, just to get super pedantic here, the committee of the Board of Trustees approved it. The full committee will, I think it's December 8th or December 9th at their meeting, will fully fund and become the first Group of 5 school to fully fund, which is, why this becomes, with the new stadium coming online and the talent in Florida and blah, 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 and all the other natural attributes of the university that we should have been leveraging 15 to 20 years ago so we wouldn't be in this damn spot. Then yeah, that's why I think this could be the best job in the Group of 5. Vito, if you want to scroll back to follow up on this a little bit, at 3:42 p.m., our buddy Chris Mejia, who I've actually never met Chris, but I've seen his stand-up comedy and he's hilarious, and he's also
friend of the show, Chris Mejia.
Friend of the show who lives in Seattle, and I've seen his stuff and he's terrific. Also sent me a shirt once. Which my favorite USF shirt, which is "Nobody gaslights me better than USF football" with the old Rocky logo. That was from a different time though, when we were that was like peak Jeff Scott era stuff. But that's one of my favorite USF shirts. I'm so tired of waiting 3-4 years just to fall short and immediately lose our coach. Well, get to the Big 12, get to the ACC, get to the Big 10, get to the SEC. I don't think we're getting to the SEC. But like the other three are theoretically in play. We are AAU school, so we could theoretically be a Big Ten. And if the Big Ten ever wanted to expand to Florida, I think we at least get a phone call. I don't know if we're an option.
I heard there's rumblings. You win this game on Saturday, things could be dominoes can be flying. Let me get the gift going.
Yeah. But yeah, now this is what it's going to be. This is the way it is for every Group of 5 school. It's the way it is also, by the way, for like even like lower tier P4 schools. Like if you the Dave Doran is the exception now rather than the rule. Like he won just enough where he probably could have left, but he stayed, and that's not going to happen very often in this current environment anymore. So
you could always stay too long. You never know. Pete Thamel officially has recognized it. He just retweeted Rob Higgins' tweet and just said USF AD statement. That's the only thing he had. But that being short, I'm sure he's hitting the phones. He's trying to figure out what's going on. But this is the national writers kind of recognizing.
And they're all giving non-answers.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Rob gave a non-answer.
Non-answer. Everyone is given a non-answer. The only like pen to proverbial paper, which is a funny way to say it. The only pen to proverbial paper was a guy who covers Little Rock, Arkansas women's basketball and hosts a golf podcast, said that he accepted the job.
And he probably got a little head of his skis there, but he's clearly do something.
Yeah, I mean, clearly there was something, but I mean, I guess since we have 2,800 people in here, and I'm going to again boldly assume that 75% of them are the Arkansas fans. Yeah.
How many people we have in here?
2,800.
Jesus, Mary Joseph, good job.
Yeah.
You said 2,000.
By the way, glad I wore the maroon shirt today.
Right. So for the Arkansas fans that are listening here and want to know more about Alex Golesh, you already kind of have probably a little bit of familiarity with how you'll see your offense move going forward. Playing Tennessee every year, I worked under Josh Heupel. So you have some familiarity with this high octane, fast moving, quick pace offense. He is the play caller. He sits on that sideline and makes the adjustments and makes the play calls and takes all the brunt end of it, for better or for worse. So keep that in mind as far as, who to direct blame to. Obviously it's turned around a USF program that was extremely down in the dumps. Arguably one of the worst programs in college football for about 3 or 4 years there. Found his footing, found a bunch of guys to buy in, has been really a good leader as far as the players themselves go. Every single one of those players at USF are completely bought in. It doesn't BS them, tells them straight up. There's many circumstances and stories of USF players basically coming in thinking that they're hot stuff and being told otherwise, and then being shown the door shortly thereafter. If you're not bought in, you're out kind of situation. So that is something to keep in mind with how he presents himself to not just players, but to media members as well. We do have quite a lot of people that have, frankly, been rubbed the wrong way by Golesh, especially with how he handled Byron Brown's injury last year, basically stringing us along, saying that he was questionable when he had a broken leg the entire time. You're gonna get
point of information.
Yes,
it was a broken ankle.
Broken ankle. Thank you for the clarity. So, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. We would gladly keep Golesh here. We think keeping Golesh here for another year would do good favors for USF, especially with the current climate around the American Conference. But he is not without his own faults. He's hitched his wagon to Todd Orlando. Todd Orlando has this boom or bust defense that, you'll get a bunch of turnovers. You might also give up 600 yards. You might also look kind of bad at times defensively. That's always a possibility with every defensive coordinator. That's just sort of the way that this thing goes. We can't tell you if Byram's going to join Golesh here in his endeavor, if he does choose to go to Arkansas. I think we can all kind of say for certain here amongst the USF circles that Byram probably is going to weigh the NFL option first. I think there's a possibility that he could end up finding himself in a favorable NFL camp, but we'll see what turns out to that. But the worser news, I guess, is that there's not a lot of continuity that was going to happen after this season for USF as far as their starters go. A lot of the players are either seniors or out of eligibility. Not a lot of guys are probably, you look at our defense, Mac Harris and Jalen Schuler, guys that were actually retained from the previous staff. Those guys are out of eligibility at this point. So, running back room was by committee at this point. Offensive line, a lot of those guys are seniors, and there was going to be quite a bit of turnover there. Again, the main kind of crux of this all is, was Byram going to come with him or not? We'll kind of see from there. But he's a relentless recruiter on the trail. We've known that since his time at Tennessee. He's just been on fire when it comes to getting guys to buy into the message that he has been portraying. Talks a lot about the process. You're going to hear a lot of it ad nauseum. It's process. Again, for better or for worse. Sometimes you want to hear that the process was good because you'll beat a team 56-12 and you'll feel really, really, really good about yourself. And then you'll hear about the process when you lose against Memphis, where you gave up 17 unanswered points in the fourth quarter and make a lot of mistakes at that point. So, you're not getting the most perfect candidate that you could ever ask for, but you're getting a guy that's going to put up a lot of points. He's going to be bought in. He's going to ask a lot of the players. He's not going to settle for the bare minimum. And I'm sure at the SEC, it's not going to change for him either. If your players are not bought in at the University of Arkansas under Alex Golesh, they will not be playing there.
Also, let's get used to the word elite. You're going to hear the word elite just basically constantly. The man literally has a piece of iron on the back of his desk because he was saying, I'm fucking elite so often that Fe is the symbol for iron on the periodic table, and somebody gave him a piece of iron. He thought that was pretty funny. That's literally what we're dealing with here. Look, I think he wins. He's been a really effective leader, and he got people bought in across this program. He grew this program. And in terms of staffing and in terms of allocation from the university and all that kind of stuff, he got everybody on board on and off the field. And I thank him for that tremendously if he is moving on. But we'll see what happens here. And at halftime, your Bulls down 36-33 to VCU. Also, I just looked. I had Buffalo -4.5 against Bucknell. Was up. How much was I up at halftime? 13? Yeah, I didn't cover. Late charge by the Bison. I know. Late charge by the Bison against the Bulls. Just completely unfair to me. What was I up at halftime? I was up 13 at half and somehow didn't cover. Unbelievable. Buffalo wins, but not by 4.5.
Boo.
That's my first.
Hate that.
I've been running so good. I was due.
Yeah, you're running hot.
running so hot. So I had to lose one at some point.
What do you have in the USF game? Anything?
No, this was a total stay away from me. Total, by the way, total 171. This score right now is on pace for a 138, and it opened 171.5. I think it closed like 173.5. And right now we're on pace for a 138. So yeah,
you can get under 157. Looks like that's just according to the app.
With these
USF is
marshmallow rims, I'd go over.
Yeah,
still go over.
It's 100 points a game for USF, and they have 33 right now. It's crazy.
We might. I mean, honestly, if you can figure out this rim situation, maybe 66 point second half would be absolutely just unreal.
Bulls 13 of 36 from the field, 1 of 9 from 3. VCU 12 of 31 from the field, 4 of 12 from 3. Bulls 6 turnovers, VCU 7. And rebounds 25-20 in favor of the Bulls. So yeah, that's how you get there. Teams that take a lot of shots, not taking as many, and when they do, they don't go in.
Chris Mejia, before you leave, I just absolutely loved every time, back in the glory days of Twitter, every game day would just be the guy peeking behind the bricks, text meme of Bulls winning today. And that would get me every time. I was like, Bulls winning today. But of course, it's back when they never won. So it was always a fun, it's not happening, but he kept it going. Shout out, Chris. He's also a Birds fan. If he's a fellow Eagle fan.
He is. Go S. And if you want real tragedy for me this week, that was Sunday. Oh my God.
What the heck happened?
Speaking of
That was
blowing
so
three,
ridiculous.
why do my football teams love to blow 3-score leads?
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, what else we got here, boys? Want to talk about anything more holistically here, or like?
I mean,
it's 4 o'clock on the day before Thanksgiving. I mean, that doesn't in a 24-hour news cycle. Something
It doesn't
could
mean
break
anything.
right now.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything, right? I mean, it could come out at any time. Golesh could be, eating dinner with the hogs on Thanksgiving. Who knows? But
the crazy part is that it's like knowing what we know about Golesh. This is I'm not allowed to curse, right? Like,
no, you are.
Oh, I am.
Who gives a shit?
We're not getting on yet.
This has got to fucking piss Golesh off so much. Like this man usually is so unbelievably tight-lipped about everything, and like is very like minute about when stuff happens, how stuff happens. Again, we talked about it. He's very process-oriented. If Alex Golesh wanted to take another job, in his probably perfect world of things, it would have been after the season. It would have been cordial. Everything would have been nice. He would have had everything kind of wrapped up between USF, and USF doesn't leave in any bad taste in his mouth. And he's going to an upgraded job where he's getting more money. That's the ideal situation. So I just know for certain this entire thing is pissing him off. He is sitting at the Selman Center at the Athletic Center, stewing in his office.
Oh, yeah.
There's a hole in his wall.
Yeah,
well, don't punch a hole in the wall.
Hey man, look, it's 2025 and you're a head coach of a Division I program. You don't like it? Go sell real estate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this is the
You'll still get leaked out of that. They found out that Jeff Scott was coaching his kids' soccer league like 2 hours after it happened.
Yeah, like this is the business you have chosen. You know what I mean? Like this, you don't like how these things are process oriented. You don't like, and I will say that, I've had perfectly pleasant interactions with Golesh previously. He wasn't real happy about a question I asked at Navy, but like, oh well, kind of the job. But like I've had nothing but pleasant. It's fine with me. He doesn't have to deal with me. He doesn't have to like me. He doesn't have to like what we do. He doesn't have to like media in general. But I would say that he's certainly not a fan of anything getting out publicly, to follow on what Stieg said, media or non-media in any way, shape, or form. He wants total and complete control. A lot of coaches are like that. And my point has always been to coaches that are control freaks in any sport, which is fine. If you want that kind of control, okay, you can have it. You better win. And I would say that for the most part, coming up short at Memphis and short at Navy, but otherwise, yeah, he's won. And he got this thing pointing in the right direction. So he's going to get a little more, give. Will he get that give? That's talking, you'll get that benefit of the doubt at South Florida. I don't care what SEC school you're at. You're not getting the benefit of that out there. And quite frankly, and I've had this discussion with some other folks around the USF administration lately, the Selman Center has always leaked like a sieve. Okay. Just generally, it has always been a place where leaks have never been patched. And hell, I ran a damn website for 9 years based on the fact that the place leaks like a sieve. And that has changed a little bit, but not totally, to be quite honest. And I think Golesh will find that if he didn't like the leaks around here, doctor, wait till he sees what he's in for in Fayetteville. But he's probably familiar with it too, with his experience places like Tennessee and everything like that. Just too many flapping gums in the SEC. Always has been, always will be. Just part of the job. This is the business you have chosen. You want the big boy paycheck. It comes with big boy things you can't control. And I don't really necessarily feel sorry for coaches that bitch about this kind of stuff, because you're making 7 figures to tell kids how to play football. The reason you are is because of things like media and the obsessive, crazy interest in college football. So yeah, that's just part of it. That's why the money's there. And as the John Hamm meme would be, that's what the money is for. Other questions that we've gotten here.
Want to talk about realignment? Yeah.
Yeah, like look, I'll say it. USF voted today to be the first G5 program to fully fund NIL, or at least the full salary cap, because they want to be out of the conference that they're in. No breaking news on that one, kids, but that is why this got done today. And I would doubt that there is an administration or board of trustees more invested in the future athletic success of their university anywhere in the country more than what we have seen at the University of South Florida over the last 24 months. And this is just following on to that. You don't hire Rob Higgins unless you want to get out of this conference and you think he can be the guy to help navigate those paths. And I think USF, when the carousel spins again, is as well positioned as anybody in the country to be on the other side of the P4 wall when the gate gets lifted again. But we'll see. Those decisions get made ahead of us, but then we become the backfill. And once the backfill happens, I think we're the number one school in terms of backfill now.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think it's very clear the direction that it's going. You're either paying to be included, which we have seen many schools do that. SMU, probably the most paramount example of it. You are either pushing your chips in to say we are going to be a part of this and fully fund it, or you're not. And whatever that divide looks like isn't going to be completely streamlined. You know, to me, the best case scenario out of all of this is that you basically get a mixture of you know, all of these schools that have decided to push all their chips in, and you can finally just re-engage conference realignment and put them in the right numerical settings. Because right now, when you look across the board, it's a mess. Like the American Athletic Conference just posted their like tiebreaker scenarios of how they're going to decide it. This is a mess. And it's the same thing is happening at the ACC. The same thing can happen at the SEC. The same thing can happen in the Big Ten if, you know, the chips fall that way. It's a mess. Like a 20-team conference is not a viable strategy at this point. You know, I understand that the SEC wants all the money. I understand. I mean, everyone's chasing the same dollars, the thing. Everyone's chasing the same eyeballs, the same media rights deals and everything like that. These need to be more streamlined so you can truly have the best teams play in your conference championship games year in and year out, so that you're not having a 6-way tiebreaker and the last option is a coin flip. Like, that's unreal. Like, at least in the NFL, you have your divisions and you have mostly out of conference games, but you have your divisions. So you can basically say, yes, okay, we can definitively say either by, you know, point differentials as your tiebreaker, if things are tied, you can definitively every single time say this team was the best team in the AFC South. This team was the best team in the NFC South. And if it was close enough, then those people go to the playoffs anyways. We don't have that at all in college football. Go on, Colin. So, I know you're chopping at it.
Yeah. So here's, okay. UCLA, my favorite example, because I've often said I screwed up. I went to a school in warm weather. I should have gone to a Pac-12 school. So UCLA probably would have been like a school that I would have loved to have attended. Basketball program last night got beat by Cal. Their coach in 7 years got to one Final Four during the COVID year and has not gotten past the Sweet 16 since. I watched him blow a 20. I was in there in Vegas watching him blow a 20-point lead in person to Gonzaga in the second half of the Sweet 16 2 years ago. They're a disaster. They made the feel-good hire, football-wise, of Foster. Clearly just somebody who was in over his head. And you can tell in two ends, one by his record and two what happened after he left, as UCLA pulled off maybe the biggest upset of the season over Penn State. as soon as he left. Not very process oriented. UCLA gymnastics is playing their road meets at like Happy Valley and Piscataway. Okay, how does that make sense? They're broke. They're flying across country. This makes absolutely no sense. And they're in an 18-team league for all sports. The SEC, I think, makes a little more sense, but having it be taking away divisions and having 18 schools with no divisions, it's not a problem this year just because of the way things have broken out, but in the long run, that's going to be an issue. Have an SEC championship game, but just go back to divisions. And I know that there's downsides to that, but if you just play, you want to play 9 games, you can have 20 teams if you want to play 9 games. You could legit have a 20-team league. You play everybody in your league once, and then you play a championship game with the 2 best. Like that's sustainable. And those schools geographically are much, much more aligned than the Big Ten is. But otherwise, something's going to happen here. And I don't know where it's going to happen or how it's going to happen. Is it taking all the media rights and pulling them and then having conferences break out certain percentages, based on ratings or whatever it is? But do we separate football and everybody else? Do you have a separate conference for men's and women's basketball and volleyball that you do for college football? But something's got to give here, because not having that commissioner, not having that oversight, not having any sort of body that has any control over any of these programs, this is the end result, and it's chaos and insanity. And I think at some point, whether it's Congress that gets involved or some sort of, the thing is, the lever that's never been pulled is, Congress could just go and say, all right, if you don't follow these sets of rules on college athletics, we're just not going to give you student loan money. And that breaks every school in America. Like, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Ohio State or friggin' Wake Forest. These institutions subsist off federal student loans. That's how these kids can afford to go to college and pay all these outrageous amounts of tuition. So Congress has full oversight here of whatever the hell they want to do. But until we get some kind of federal regulation or some sort of authority or some sort of body, the system makes absolutely no sense, and we are just going to live in a constant state of flux and transition. For USF, I think that's particularly a good thing right now, because being in a state of flux and transition allows them the opportunity to push the edges a little bit more and put themselves in a position when the dust does settle, that they'll be in the right spot. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
Got a fun one from going back a little bit. We kind of skipped over it. Where is it from? Oh, geez. Vamp. Here we go. Michael Brown. If Golesh leaves, what do we set as the floor for a new coach? 4, 5, 6, 7 wins. Feels like we just got hit with a meteor and we were back in the Stone Age. What do you think, fellas?
I mean,
settle down. Okay, look, Brownie. Look, I love you, buddy. And again, I'm sitting in the lovely home you sold me. But settle down, okay? The level of investment in this program has made it the best job in the G5. We may have a little bit of a transition here, but it shouldn't be a long one. And the expectations at South Florida should be, if you don't win in year 1, you need to at least be competitive in November in year 2 in this current environment. Now, that is not something we could have said under Jeff Scott, and that is not something we could have said under Charlie Strong. But with the amount of investment that this program has made at an institutional level, floor with next year's schedule is cupcake as hell too, except for the Bama game. It is cupcake. Floor, at least bowl game. You know what I mean? Assuming you can get somebody in a reasonable amount of time and hit the portal with some reasonable alacrity. Floor, bowl game. Ceiling, playoff. Just because the institutional support is just so much greater than it was 2 and 3 and 5 years ago. Like, it's unbelievable. We got money. You got money, you should be able to win, especially in this environment.
Yeah, it also feels like in this day and age, you're walking in, and it's not even like, oh, he's going to come into this and has to scramble. It's like a new coach comes in and brings in a team, and it always looks drastically different than the one you walked out of. But generally speaking, it's not like years of old where you have to say, I need 3 years to get this going. It's, well, there's Portal, have fun.
You ain't got
Steve, what
3
do you
years.
think?
You got we are the kings of
3 weeks.
We invented year zero. This website here invented year zero, year -1, year -2. Like, we gave coaches so much string and benefit of the doubt and so much rope to get things turned around in the old era. You know, we had basketball coaches come in and we were saying, okay, welcome to year -2. It's going to take you that long to fix this disaster. Like, we totally have been on board and been patient. In this environment, and I mean, in basketball, you don't even get 3 months anymore. Like, in basketball, you need to basically bring your kids with you and be prepared to win right away. But in football, the old 3-year model, that's out the window. At most, you get a year now. At most, in this portal era. Just where it is.
Yeah. I mean, you get 3 weeks to fix it. You know, realistically, like, it's now the clock starts no longer. You know, you don't get you don't really even get your press conference layup anymore. Like, that used to be the easiest win you could get, but now it's, why are you wasting time doing a press conference when you can be out recruiting? You know, it's a very bad, in some aspects, era of sports to kind of look at, because it's guns blazing now, man. If when this becomes official, you know, I'll point to the Eric Morris situation, actually, because that's official and we can speculate about that. There's no reason for Eric Morris to be coaching North Texas against Temple and then onward. No reason, absolutely no reason.
But he's a good person.
He's a good person. No reason for him to do it. Listen,
right. It's probably hurting him at his next job to do it. But it's
we watched it happen with our previous head coach. We watched him say, "Oh, I want to go out honorably and coach through a potential championship and yada yada yada." And you know what you do after that? You get screwed by your recruitment. Then because you're double dipping at that point. You're not double dipping.
But I think things are different now a little bit because of personnel departments. So
right.
Your personnel department is doing so much of your recruiting for you. And I assume Oklahoma State already has some sort of personnel department in place. I don't know if Eric Morris is bringing some personnel people with him, but they're doing so much of the recruiting nowadays. And quite frankly, look, we talked about this with multiple coaches at AAC Media Days. This is not the old days where you like fly a kid in and like pick him up at the airport in a limo and like drive him around and show him what his jersey would look like and put it up on a scoreboard, yada, 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 which was always NCAA questionable anyway. But that's not what happens anymore. You send a kid a virtual tour of the school in his email box and an offer. We'll pay you this much money. Multiple coaches tell me that, yeah, like the one that jumps out at me is we asked John Summerall about it at Tulane. And we said, how many kids on your team never set foot on your campus before you sent them an offer or anything? And he said, well, my starting quarterback. Yeah, Jack Retzlaff never set foot on Tulane's campus before he was signed as quarterback at Tulane. That's just how these things work now. So in this different era, if you've got a personnel department, a coach certainly needs to work with the players that have already been signed or, you know, are on the roster presently and take those meetings. But I don't think it's the massive disruption that it used to be. Even when Jeff Scott did it for, what was that, 6 years ago now? 5-6 years ago? I think it's different now.
Honestly, the hard part is going to be North Texas plays at home versus Temple this Friday. Now you're walking in there. You already accept the job at Oklahoma State. You're playing. What kind of reception you think he's going to get? It should always be still cheers and you're still a coach until the end. But you think that's what's actually going to happen when he steps onto that field again?
Man, it's North Texas. Those kids are too busy. Like I went to that tailgate. It was the biggest game of their history I was at. And they were like, yes. I was like, this is the biggest tailgate in your school's history? I'm like, really, guys? Like, this is what you got? Like, this is the amount of enthusiasm? It was... it's an art school. You wouldn't think of North Texas as an art school, but it's very soft sciences oriented and
arts and music, yeah,
very arts and music school, and that showed. So I hope that they greet him warmly, especially because they still have a chance to get to the playoff. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. How crazy would it be to like be buoyed a coach that's like literally led you to the freaking college football playoff from Denton, Texas? I mean,
they ain't doing that, and I'll tell you that much right now.
I will say, like, for this game, obviously, the adjustment probably isn't much. You probably already had your game plan. You're already practicing. You have that. But as you keep going, if there's a conference championship and then a playoff game down the line, as the days go on, you start putting your Oklahoma State hat on a little bit harder, and you go like, man, who are we gonna play against the 12 seed? Texas Tech. I really got to go Cruton, guys. You guys figure something out, or whatever.
oh, if they're playing Texas Tech, like, I mean, I don't. Vince Lombardi and Nick Saban couldn't figure out how to get over on that one. They're gonna get road great paved by Texas Tech.
Man, that offense though, it's one of those things like you turn around and go like, how did they score 21 points in 2 seconds?
Because their receivers can get deep and can get to the deep third and still get open and still have guys flying underneath zones, and that's not going to happen against Texas Tech because they're not going to have time to let those routes develop because Texas Tech's just going to maul them up front.
Yeah.
And by the way, private air travel, Zoom, like these are all things that you're going to be able to work through. I think it's fine, and I think for the group of 5, quite frankly, that's going to if you're going to be able to get a good coach in the future, you need to show grace and kindness to the coach that you currently have. And I hope South Florida understands that. This weekend.
Nope, that ain't happening.
Well,
Pipe dream.
I'm talking administration wise. The fans are going to
not the fans.
Fan wise. I don't think it's gonna be very fun on Saturday. I'm gonna be honest.
My suggestion on Twitter that we should hopefully not boo the crap out of Alex Golesh if he is signed somewhere else was not warmly received by the huddled masses on Twitter. I still think it's the right thing to do. I think look, man, he rebuilt this program. It was an absolute shit fire, and now it's a very respectable program. Partially because of FF, partially because of institutional investment. I think now it's literally the best job in a group of 5. Because of that, I would like to show a little grace and class here. I think that's the right thing to do. And also to recognize these seniors that were a part of the turnaround. They came up 1 game short, but they were definitely part of turning around this program. And I would like to see their coach, the guy that they bought in with, be able to finish the season. Doesn't seem like the fans necessarily agree with me on that one.
No,
it's the huddled masses.
It's funny. It's the win immediately mindset has toxified everyone's brain into thinking that they're owed more than they are. Candidly, Golesh has been one of the best things that's happened to the university. He's been aligned with the university administration and gave his all. I mean, man slept on a cot in his office for the first 4 weeks of the job to try to fix this because he knew it was going to be a problem. USF fans should owe Golesh a warm thank you and goodbye. But we know that's not going to happen. Just kind of the par for the course, probably a thankless job at the end of the day. Whether it's fair or not, it is to be seen. And, we expected, do you expect anything less from the huddled masses of Twitter? No. I actually expect less, amazingly. I expect even worse. But at the end of the day, for USF fans, and again, I know mostly Arkansas fans are in here trying to find out news about Alex Golesh. The only thing that we know is that it seems imminent. Pen is not paper yet, but no indications that it won't at some point. That's just kind of the nature of where we're at right now. I'm sure both sides did not like that this leaked out as early as it did. I would imagine the preference would have been to have this leak out, I don't know, Saturday, probably.
Well, and that's a thought. Do you think this was supposed to be a Sunday situation? Regular season game ends, all of a sudden Sunday, Monday, that happens. Or do you think, I feel like there's a lot of moving parts here. And then once it gets leaked, it's like you have to rush the decision. So you never know what's actually happening. There could be an offer there, and then you're trying to figure out what you want to do, or if you want to wait, or if that offer gets pulled. Hey, when you play NCAA 26 and you hit that final weekend of the season, you get your job offers. If you play that bowl game, some of those job offers go away. You can't go back on it. You have to choose.
Is that in there?
Yeah,
I didn't know
so
that
it's
was
like
in there. That's funny.
so like if you're a coach, so that's always a joke on some of my streams, which I should probably actually play that playoff game that's been sitting there since August.
Too
But
nervous.
like you go through and see all the fun like right after regular season ends, oh, you're in the playoff, whatever, you get job offers, you can pick them and choose them. And if you wait because you want to play the last game, those job offers go away. Sometimes new ones pop up, but it's like emulates a little bit real life. You probably don't get that offer all the time. You have a deadline the day before Thanksgiving. This kind of stinks for everyone involved that this did happen, but I'm curious if this is supposed to ideally be a situation where it pops up after the game on Saturday, and that was more of a Sunday announcement waiting. But at this point in time, do you think it can wait that long?
No. And from whose side do you think it was supposed to wait until Sunday? Do you think from the Arkansas side or from the South Florida side or from the
100% from the South
Golesh
Florida side.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think
Alex
from an
Golesh
ideal
would be
situation, you don't want to announce it until the game's over. Like, I mean,
Right, but, like,
obviously that's just shooting off the hip. That's not anything that I know of.
you don't get to choose. You don't get to choose your destiny in this world. Arkansas is they're the bigger fish in the pond. They're the orca, and we are merely the dolphin. And we're gonna get swallowed up here sometimes. That's just how these things work. You can only control what you can. Again, until we get a commissioner, until we get some kind of regulation, until we get something that is some sort of enforceable. Every man is acting on his own as an island. Every institution is acting on his own as an island, and I can't blame anybody. This is for our friends that are politically inclined. This is unfettered capitalism. This is what it is. This is unregulated. You want the ultimate libertarianism in America? It is college football in 2025. This is libertarianism, light touch capitalism at its peak.
How lovely.
Yeah.
Hate it. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think everyone in the USF centric world, again, we are a USF centric site. Apologies to our Arkansas fans. USF will be fine. They'll be perfectly fine. Yes, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. But USF is doing literally everything they possibly can to align themselves for bigger and better things. Arkansas clearly trying to do the same in this regard by getting a hot up-and-coming head coach here. Politically, I gotta say, hiring a Russian coach is a very strange thing to do in the state of Arkansas. We'll just rip that Band-Aid off. Listen, you got there's so many different thoughts that I've had about this entire time. Obviously the money is one of the main reasons. His wife living in, being from Greenwood is a good enough reason to go to Arkansas. But listen, man, if you do not win right away, you are a political enemy. Theoretically, this could turn sideways very quickly. At USF, you get the good graces of your media not asking good questions.
I think we might be extrapolated out. Versus you say he's a Russian agent. Are you accusing the head coach of the University of South Florida of being a Russian agent? Is he working for Putin? Is that what you're telling me?
Listen, I have had TweetDeck up all day.
Buddy, we've
been on these people might not be real, but there are real people out there that think that Golesh being Russian is pardon the lack of term that I can think of, collusion of some sort.
You know who else would probably think that? The Russian bots that are putting it out there. We are an hour 53 into this, so I think we might have gone too far. Now Vito leaves. All right, so here I had two questions that I wanted to pull up that came from the comments. The USF. Okay, cool. From the USF.
I'm here. I just had to get a drink.
Okay.
It's water.
The water tower. Speaking of water, the USF water tower. Tweeted. Oh, go ahead. Where'd it go? There it is. 99% of the time, the early leak is on the institution and not the coach. Does this imply it is an intentional leak? Yes. It is very likely. The most. I mean, I can't say this for sure, but if you're game theorying this out, it is most likely that Arkansas put this out there to put pressure on Golesh to sign something so that they don't get left at the altar, so that he doesn't go through the weekend with even potentially more options after Lane does whatever he's going to do and whatever jobs possibly open up. It is in Arkansas's best interest to get him signed on the dotted line as quickly as possible. That is most likely what happened here, but we certainly can't say that for sure. But if you game it out, that's theoretically probably how this worked. Gene Haynes, comment after that. What's up, Gene? 3 bowl games in a row and a possible 10-win season. How the hell can we be upset? He earned the right to a bigger payday if he can't match. 100%. And even if we can match, maybe you want to play for a national championship. Maybe you want to play for an SEC championship. Maybe you want a different challenge. Maybe your wife is from Arkansas. So, I understand people are pissed, but I don't, the need, I guess I'm too deep in it at this point, to just be a fan and just react as a fan anymore. But we hired the man to do a job. He did a job. Now he's been offered a lot more money to take a job somewhere else. You know what happens when that happens to me? I had a job. I got offered a better job that paid more money, and I did a great job for the job that I had previously. But then I took the job that paid more money, and I went on happily. It's the same thing here. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to begrudge anybody who makes that decision. Especially in this college football environment. Because here's the thing: if Golesh for some reason stayed here and went 6-6 next year, we'd all want him burnt at the stake. We'd all be begging for him to get fired. Everybody would want his ass out. So it's a transactional relationship, and he wants to take his transactional relationship somewhere else that's best for him and his family, and for his ever into competing. Yeah, that's why. What's the next one? Philip Davis. Next comment there, Vito.
Yeah, this is actually a good one.
Yeah. Why would you want to work for an employer who leaks and tries to pressure you into signing? Because they pay really good. Because there's 18 SEC jobs. You're not getting the best 4 of them. And this is in that second tier. This is the way the game is played. Yeah, why would you want that job? It pays really good. A lot of dough. A lot of you're the most important man in an entire state. That's better than being the, 4th most, 5th most important football coach in the state of Florida. Sorry, not sorry. It just is.
And how about this one from Cole T24?
On the bright side, our AD has the chance to bring in his guys 100%. Look, this is Doug Willard, no longer our athletic director, famously would always say in these situations, this is just an opportunity for us to get better. He didn't do that, but he was right.
The word was said.
An opportunity for us to get better. He just didn't do a very good job of getting us better when these things happen. But the famous Doug Willardism does apply here. It's an opportunity, and it's a chance for Rob to get somebody in here. And knowing Rob, I think we'll get somebody with a lot of personality. Gregarious will be a community leader as much as they are a football leader. That tends to be how these things go. Yeah. Are we done here? We got Stieg accusing the coach of being a Russian plant. So I think we might be.
Listen, with 3,800 people listening, I've already done my damage. I can't wait for that to be all over social media. Robert Stieg of the Bay Area Examiner thinks that Alex Golesh is a Russian agent, double agent.
By the way, are we getting these 3,800 people? Or any of them coming from RT News? Like what? Oh my God. Although can we share the nickname now? I think we got to wait until everything's signed. The
nickname.
Yeah, there was a nickname that was given to Coach Golesh by some staffers that I heard about, but we'll wait till everything's signed to put that out there. Maybe we'll don't even
save that for the Ponderosa.
Well,
Tune in to the Ponderosa, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's not put that out there, but that's not necessarily fair.
We'll answer one more question, and I'm going to head out because I got pre-Thanksgiving dinners to go to. Again, what can we speculate about Arkansas's minimum acceptable number of 2026 wins with Golesh with an SEC conference and schedule? I mean, we're not soothsayers. We don't know who Arkansas will be quarterbacking. That is your most important piece.
Let's play win.
We're going to do the schedule game.
We'll play the schedule game here.
We're going to play schedule game for a coach that doesn't even have the job yet with a roster that is unknown. We don't even know who's coming with him from USF, much less anywhere else, or if Byron Brown's going with him. All right, schedule game. North Alabama, win. Okay. Fair?
They're tough.
We all on board here? North Alabama's
Yeah,
a
I
win?
think so.
I think they get that done. Okay. At Utah. Whoa. Okay, is Whittingham coming back? Because there are rumors that Whittingham's going to retire. So if Whittingham comes back, Utah minus 4.5, probably, give or take. Utah's good, man. They just hit you. They hit you so hard. Tulsa, win. Georgia, oof. LSU,
Oof.
Lane's not going to need a lot to rebuild. LSU, probably a loss. Missouri. Eli still at Missouri?
Probably not. If Lane's at LSU, as you just technically just pitched, I mean, Drink might be a UF.
Yeah. Okay. So if Drink's at UF, then
Drink might be at Ole Miss.
Mizzou, Eli has definitely outperformed there, so they might be. That would be a very similar situation. I think Arkansas and Mizzou would be similar situations. South Carolina, Beamer still there? You'd have to. Oh, that's tough, man.
That's probably honestly, for Arkansas, that's probably a win. I think South Carolina might be in the situation that I think a few other teams are, where they're kind of like, yeah, I'm good on firing my coach right now. I'm good.
Sellers is gone, right?
Yeah,
Sellers is gone, and
he'll be in the NFL.
Games in Fayetteville, we'll give him the 3 points at home. 3 points for home. On a neutral, call it a pick 'em, and we'll give him 3 at home. Sure. Okay. Win. Tennessee, probably a loss, because I think Heupel's staying put.
Although Heupel versus Golesh will be fun.
Hilarious. Oh yeah. Great matchup. That'll be fun. Okay.
It's gonna be 5 hours long.
Okay. Here are the road games. At Auburn. Oh, doctor.
Ooh, Summerall.
John Summerall versus Alex Golesh. The Tulane USF game we did not get this year. We get next year in the SEC. Oh man, Auburn's gonna have more. Maybe not. I don't know, man. Oof, that's tough. I'll give it to Auburn because it's at Jordan Hare. At Texas, I think Sark probably stays at this point. So Arch in Texas for sure. At Texas A&M, yeah, they're going to be there. That's a wagon that's not going anywhere for a while. And then at Vandy, Clark Lee. That's
SEC, man, every week. They're not a good conference. No, definitely not.
No, not at all. Just
can't wait to hear about New York Jets QB Byron Brown.
Good night.
Honestly, brother, you are probably not too far off. I'm just being complete. I want Byron Brown to be the next Taysom Hill so bad. He would be so good. Just believe in him, NFL scouts. Just give him his chance.
So while we've been doing this, I got a text from somebody who reminded me the last South Florida quarterback who was with the New York Jets. You know who it was?
Mike White.
The one before that actually is who I was thinking about. Sorry. Forgot about Mike White.
Oh my gosh. Why can't I think of his name?
Marquell Blackwell.
Yes.
Who actually never played in a regular season game for the Jets, but did play in the preseason. Marquell Blackwell is the running backs coach at the University of South Carolina. He may not be the next coach at South Florida, but I think he definitely gets a phone call. I think he definitely gets an interview from Rob Higgins. I know him and Rob certainly have a relationship, because Rob and I were both working for the department when Marquell was our quarterback. So just an interesting name to throw out there in the ether as well. Marquell has been a play caller at the FBS level before, but he is not a play caller at South Carolina right now, but has a long and extensive history on the offensive side of the ball at multiple institutions. So I think if you want to float names out there, maybe a slightly longer shot name than some others, but Marquell would definitely be a guy who he at least gets an interview, that's for sure, or they reach out to him in some capacity.
Beautiful. All right.
Are we done here? 2 hours?
Yeah,
I think we hit it.
Basketball's down 9 too. That's not helping. And
everything sucks. Everything
became
sucks
less fun.
Yeah, Bulls are 2 of 13 from 3, and that's not.
I'm telling you, it's the rims there, man.
2 of 13.
It's
They're
something.
marshmallow soft, man. Make shots. These things are marshmallows. All right, we're done.
Colin,
All right,
Vito.
fellas. Robert
We'll
Steed, Colin Sherwin. It was amazing talking to everybody. This live version of Pod by the Bay, as we kind of theory craft through all of this Alex Golesh rumors and statements. We hear anything, we will come back to you, and we'll see if we get more information before Thanksgiving. Otherwise, happy Thanksgiving. Any last thoughts, fellas?
Ham
No.
over turkey. Turkey sucks.
Wow. Is mac and cheese a Thanksgiving side? Go.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. What am I? an
Maybe the
idiot?
best one, actually.
Incredible. See, growing up, we never did mac and cheese. So that's new to me.
Well, you did Thanksgiving incorrectly. That's okay. We all make mistakes in our traditions.
Fair enough. All right, fellas. We'll see you on the next time.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
See y'all.